We're going to learn about if and else statements, which are a part of the control structures in Java that let you make choices in a program, and we're going to do it using some new GUI components as well. So I'm in NetBeans, I'm going to create a new project, a Java application, putting it in a good place, and I'm going to call it TemperatureComment. And I'm not creating a main class because we're going to do this graphically. We'll do the main bit in a second. And we'll let that populate. Okay, and as you remember, when you don't choose a main class, there's no package here. So we're going to create a new JFrame form. And again, I'm going to call this TemperatureComment, capital letters on each word, no spaces. And the package is going to be TemperatureComment. All right. We'll let that. This is going to change the development environment to be showing the graphical stuff again. You can see the swing controls in that over here. The design area here, the navigator changes depending on whether I'm in source mode or design mode. So this program is going to have a few pieces to it. The first is going to be a label. Put right there, and the next is going to be a slider. I'm going to put that at the sort of other corner, and one more label right down here. And so let's get these renamed. So this one is going to be choose a temperature, and there's a colon there, so this is indicating that the temperature is going to be chosen on this slider here. I'm going to come back to the slider in a minute. The label, I want to remove the text from temporarily. So it's there, but it doesn't say anything at the moment. And I can kind of get to it right here again if I want to. And then there's my slider. And this is going to be a temperature slider. Over here in the properties area, you can see the minimum temperature I can set. I'm going to set that to -50. This is an integer. You can see that right down here. And the maximum temperature I'm going to set to +50 or just 50. Alright, and there's a few more things on the list here. I'm going to paint the tick marks, so that's right there. And you can see the track is painted as well. And I also want to choose my major tick spacing. I'll put a tick mark every, let's say, 5 degrees in this case, and you can see the tick marks down across the bottom here. If I change that to something else like 10, they're a little bit further spaced out. Okay, that's how a slider works, so the part that we've done so far. So let's call these things something. So the first label, that's the one here, is going to be called my slider label. The slider itself, I'm going to call it the temp slider for temperature. And this label is going to be called my comment label. And you'll see why. This is going to be a program where we comment on the temperature. So we're almost there. This is going to be a little different. In the past we've used a button, and when the button is clicked then you do something. Here we are going to do everything based on this slider right here. So I'm going to right click on the slider, go to events, and you'll notice it doesn't have the same action performed option here, but instead one of the events is that the slider has changed, its state has changed. So that's what we're going to choose. So right click the slider, events, change, and state changed. And this is going to take us to this temp slider state changed event. So I'm going to put a little bit of code in here to explain what we're going to do. We're going to update and then the label is the comment label based on the value of the slider. Okay, so now it's time to build our selection structure out. So we need to first off get the temperature from the label. So I'm going to make a new int to hang on to it, and I'm going to call it temperature. Nice descriptive name. And it equals, now I'm going to grab the slider itself, which is temp slider dot, and I want to get the value of that. And you can see it's popped up there. Get value, the parenthesis. Oh, I must have missed something there. Try that again. Get value. and semicolon afterwards. Okay, so that temperature variable now holds the value that was in the slider. And now I'm going to do my if structure. So if the temperature, I'm going to spell it right each time, is less than, and I have to choose a value here. I'm going to choose a negative value. If it's less than negative 25, so there's a bracket, and now braces, those curly guys. If the temperature is less than negative 25, I want to update that comment label. So comment label dot set, and the text I want it to be is, well, if it's that cold, it's, wow. Are you in the Arctic? And okay, and that's it for that statement. So that's great if the value is less than negative 25, but what if it's somewhere, you know, less than 0 but more than negative 25? Well, that's where the else comes in. So immediately after that brace, I'm going to put an else and then an if. So else if temperature is less than 0. Now, it's important that I get these in the right order. So before I go on here, this first statement will activate if the temperature is less than negative 25. This one will only activate if the first if here, the temperature less than negative 25, if it failed. So then anything, this code in here will only execute if the temperature is less than 0, but it's not less than negative 25. So it's important that we do these in order. If I switch these around and did the less than 0 first, then say minus 40 would be less than 0, and so it would activate that code block there as well. So we're being pretty careful here, and I'm going to do some cutting and pasting rather than typing all this. What will the commentary be here? Sounds like Northern Ontario. And again, I'm going to save some typing by copying and pasting this whole block here. Else if, what if the temperature is exactly 0? Well, instead of a less than sign, we're going to use a double equal sign. If I used a single equal sign, that would change the value of that temperature variable. That's an assignment operator. We don't want to do that. Double equal sign. And a little commentary here. Exactly cold enough to freeze water. And let's keep going. And we're just going to keep going in order up the scale. What if the temperature is less than 20? And so that means that it's less than 20 degrees Celsius, but it has not been 0 or below. Right? So it's something between 0 and 20. Okay. Maybe that's spring or fall. I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to add another block. What if it's less than 30? That's summer in the north. What if it's less than, well, you can see I'm getting into a new section here. What if it's less than 40? So that means it's 30 or higher, but still less than 40. And oh, it's a nice day. And what if it's less than 50? Are you in Florida? And finally, I'm going to have one last one, an else. And the else, I'm going to put a comment here. In our case, this is exactly, exactly 50, because that's the max on the slider. That's the maximum value that could be there. So rather than saying else if temperature equals 50, I can just put an else, which will be if I haven't matched any of the previous statements, this is the code that will execute. And so the code should be, welcome to Tatooine. All right, let's give it a shot. And again, because we didn't choose a main class, it's going to ask us what we want to use, and we only have one to choose from. And let's see what happens here. And here is our program. And we're going to choose a temperature. Remember, our label here is empty right now. And the slider has an initial value that I didn't set, but let's choose it. And oh, you can see now, as I move up and down the slider, oh, right there's my 0 point, exactly cold enough to freeze water. And spring or fall, summer in the north, wow, nice day, are you in Florida, and welcome to Tatooine. And so these values here are unlabeled, and so there's a whole other set of steps to go through to label these carefully so that you can see them. But that's how it works. So we have a different kind of event listener, a change event listener. We've updated this value in the label based on the value that we get from the slider. And there you go. That's a new control structure for you that you can use and you will use a lot in all your programs. Thanks.